Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Faye Dunaway is one of the most magnetic and commanding actresses in American cinema, renowned for her intensity, sophistication, and striking screen presence. Born Dorothy Faye Dunaway on January 14, 1941, in Bascom, Florida, she emerged in the late 1960s as one of Hollywood's most compelling leading ladies, an actress who could embody ambition, glamour, fragility, and danger all at once. Dunaway studied theater at the University of Florida and later at Boston University before making her Broadway debut in the early 1960s. Her early stage work honed her dramatic instincts, but it was her leap to film that made her an icon. Her breakthrough came with Bonnie and Clyde, 1967, in which she portrayed the infamous outlaw Bonnie Parker opposite Warren Beatty. The film revolutionized Hollywood's style and tone, and Dunaway's cool, defiant performance made her a symbol of the new Hollywood era, elegant yet rebellious, tragic yet irresistible. Through the 1970s, Dunaway dominated the screen with roles that revealed her extraordinary emotional range. In The Thomas Crown Affair, 1968, she exuded elegance and intelligence opposite Steve McQueen, while in Chinatown, 1974, her portrayal of the enigmatic Evelyn Mulwray cemented her reputation as one of cinema's greatest actresses. The role showcased her ability to combine vulnerability with mystery, qualities that became her signature. In 1976, she delivered one of her most unforgettable performances as the ruthless television executive Diana Christensen in Network. Her portrayal of an ambitious woman who blurs the line between morality and success earned her an Academy Award for Best Actress. The performance remains one of the defining portrayals of power and media cynicism in film history. The 1980s brought a turning point in Dunaway's career. Her role as Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest, 1981, was infamous, both reviled and celebrated. Though initially criticized, the film later gained cult status, and Dunaway's ferocious interpretation of Crawford became a pop culture phenomenon. She later expressed regret over the film's reception, but it undeniably contributed to her enduring legend. Throughout her later career, Dunaway continued to work across film, television, and theater. She appeared in projects like Barfly, 1987, Don Juan DeMarco, 1994, and The Rules of Attraction, 2002, often portraying complex, world-weary women with sharp intelligence and poise. Even in supporting roles, her presence commanded attention. Beyond her filmography, Faye Dunaway represents a particular archetype of Hollywood femininity, elegant but untamed, intellectual yet unpredictable. Her style and demeanor have influenced generations of actresses, and her legacy is tied to an era when Hollywood was redefining itself artistically and culturally. More than half a century after her debut, Dunaway remains a symbol of cinematic sophistication and dramatic fearlessness. Whether as Bonnie Parker, Evelyn Mulwray, or Diana Christensen, she brought to each role a rare combination of beauty, brilliance, and danger, qualities that ensure her place among the greatest actresses in the history of film. Faye Dunaway's career is as fascinating for its triumphs as for the mystique that surrounds her. She has always been a figure of intensity, deeply private, fiercely ambitious, and entirely committed to her craft. Her reputation for perfectionism and emotional depth often translated into tension on set, but it also fueled performances that continue to captivate audiences decades later. After her explosive success in the late 1960s and 1970s, Dunaway entered the 1980s with an aura of classic Hollywood glamour combined with the daring sensibility of a modern artist. while Mommy Dearest cast a long shadow. She refused to be defined by its controversy. Instead, she continued to seek challenging, emotionally rich roles. Her performance in Barfly, 1987, opposite Mickey Rourke, was widely praised. She played a faded, alcoholic romantic with remarkable vulnerability and humanity, reminding critics of her unparalleled ability to inhabit complex, broken characters. In the 1990s, Dunaway transitioned gracefully into a series of supporting and character roles that reflected her maturity and experience. She appeared in The Handmaid's Tale, 1990, based on Margaret Atwood's novel, portraying a chillingly composed wife in a dystopian society. In Don Juan DeMarco, 1994, she played Marlon Brando's wife, bringing warmth and dignity to the romantic fantasy. Dunaway also made notable appearances in television, winning a Golden Globe for her performance in Gia, 1998, where she played supermodel Gia Karanji's tough but caring mentor. Despite occasional retreats from the public eye, Dunaway's influence never waned. Her style, sharp cheekbones, poised demeanor, and commanding eyes, became emblematic of a certain kind of American beauty: intelligent, self-possessed, and slightly dangerous. Her impact is felt not only in film but also in fashion and culture. Countless photographers and designers have cited her as a muse. In interviews, Dunaway has reflected on the sacrifices of her profession. She has described acting as an emotional marathon, requiring both vulnerability and discipline. Her meticulous preparation for roles is legendary. She was known to spend weeks studying a character's psychological motivations, wardrobe, and gestures until every moment felt authentic. Her personal life, like her career, has been marked by both brilliance and difficulty. She was briefly married to musician Peter Wolf of the J. Giles Band, and later to British photographer Terry O'Neill, with whom she had a son, Liam. Though she has guarded her private world fiercely, Dunaway has often spoken of her devotion to her son and the balance she sought between motherhood and art. Faye Dunaway's legacy is that of a woman who never settled for mediocrity. She belongs to a rare generation of actresses, alongside names like Jane Fonda and Ellen Burstyn, who reshaped the portrayal of women in cinema. Her characters are never passive, they are thinking, yearning, often wounded, but always formidable. Even in her later years, Dunaway has continued to appear in select projects and make appearances at film festivals, maintaining her mystique. In 2017, she was part of one of the most memorable moments in Oscar history when she and Warren Beatty mistakenly announced the wrong winner for Best Picture, a surreal echo of her long and complex relationship with Hollywood itself. For all her fame, Dunaway remains somewhat enigmatic, a woman who refuses to be easily categorized. She is both a relic of the Golden Age and a symbol of artistic independence. Her performances in Bonnie and Clyde, Chinatown, and Network remain benchmarks for excellence in acting, and her name continues to command respect in the history of film. Faye Dunaway's artistic philosophy has always centered on truth, discipline, and transformation. She approaches acting as both a psychological excavation and a moral pursuit, seeking to find not only who a character is, but why they exist in the story's emotional architecture. This devotion to authenticity made her one of the most serious and uncompromising actresses of her generation. In interviews, Dunaway has often spoken about the profound demands of her craft. She approaches each role with almost spiritual rigor, immersing herself completely until her own personality fades into the character. She once said that acting is a kind of possession, where the performer gives up control to something larger than herself. This intensity can be seen in her greatest roles, whether it's Bonnie Parker's desperate hunger for freedom, Evelyn Mulray's haunted vulnerability, or Diana Christensen's cold brilliance. Each performance feels lived in, as if Dunaway has excavated every corner of the human soul to find its truth. Her work in Chinatown, 1974, is perhaps the purest expression of that philosophy. Evelyn Mulray is both delicate and impenetrable, a woman burdened by secrets. Dunaway played her with layers of restraint and emotion, her trembling lips, haunted eyes, and halting speech conveying more pain than dialogue ever could. Roman Polanski, the film's director, was famously demanding, but even amid tension on set, Dunaway's focus never wavered. Her performance remains a masterclass in psychological realism, balancing mystery with empathy. With Network 1976, Dunaway took a daring turn, playing a woman with no illusions, no apologies, and no sentimentality. Her Diana Christensen was a portrait of 1970s ambition, driven by ratings, power, and modern disillusionment. Dunaway's performance was both seductive and terrifying, capturing the essence of a media age obsessed with spectacle over substance. The role won her an Oscar and cemented her place as one of Hollywood's most fearless actresses. Even as Hollywood evolved, Dunaway remained selective, prioritizing quality and depth over fame. She preferred characters with psychological complexity, outsiders, visionaries, or women at emotional crossroads. In Barfly, 1987, she stripped away glamour to play Wanda, a broken alcoholic seeking connection in a hopeless world. Her portrayal was raw, tender, and tragic, a reminder that beneath her striking beauty lay an actor of immense empathy. In her later years, Dunaway has reflected candidly on fame and legacy. She has acknowledged the loneliness and pressures that come with celebrity, and the cost of maintaining artistic integrity in a business often driven by compromise. Yet she has never disowned her passion for film. "I've always believed," she once said, "that acting is about searching for the truth, not pretending. The moment you pretend, the magic is gone." Culturally, Dunaway stands as a bridge between old Hollywood glamour and modern psychological realism. She brought intelligence to beauty, giving women on screen an inner life that was often denied them in earlier decades. Her influence can be seen in actresses like Cate Blanchett, Julianne Moore, and Charlize Theron, performers who similarly balance intensity, intellect, and sensuality. Off-screen, Dunaway's elegance and enigmatic nature have made her a perennial subject of fascination. Her style, sleek suits, tailored dresses, and understated sophistication helped define 1970s chic. Photographers like Terry O'Neill, Helmut Newton, and Richard Avedon captured her as both muse and myth. Today, Faye Dunaway's name evokes more than a career. It evokes an era of artistry and risk. She belongs to the lineage of actors who treated film as literature and character as philosophy. Whether as the doomed romantic, the cunning strategist, or the vulnerable survivor, Dunaway always revealed something vital about the human condition, its yearning, its contradictions, its fragility. Faye Dunaway's legacy in Hollywood is as grand and complex as the woman herself, a tapestry woven from genius, beauty, rebellion, and mystery. She represents a rare combination of classic movie star allure and modern psychological depth, embodying the transition from old Hollywood's stylized glamour to the raw realism of the new Hollywood era. Her influence can be seen across generations of actors who came after her. Performers like Meryl Streep, Michelle Pfeiffer, Cate Blanchett, and Nicole Kidman have cited her as an example of how intelligence and intensity can coexist with sensuality on screen. Dunaway broke the mold of the passive female character. Her women were thinking, calculating, feeling beings, never simply love interests or archetypes. but the emotional and intellectual core of their stories. Throughout her career, she refused to be pigeonholed. She could play the femme fatale, the executive, the mother, or the wanderer. But she always infused each role with emotional truth. In The Arrangement, 1969, she explored moral confusion and alienation. In 3 Days of the Condor, 1975, she gave quiet strength to a woman caught in a web of espionage. Even in lesser-known works, her performances burn with precision and commitment. Off-screen, Dunaway's relationship with Hollywood has been both passionate and strained. Her perfectionism and intensity often made her a difficult collaborator, but that same drive also made her unforgettable. She held herself, and those around her, to the highest artistic standards. In a business obsessed with comfort and popularity, she demanded excellence. Many directors and co-stars later admitted that while she could be demanding, the results were extraordinary. Her private life has always remained partly in shadow, adding to her mystique. Dunaway has guarded her privacy with the same discipline she brought to her craft. She has spoken occasionally of loneliness, of the difficulty of maintaining intimacy in a profession defined by constant transformation. Yet she also found deep meaning in her work, viewing acting as a way to explore humanity's inner landscape. As she aged, Dunaway became reflective about her place in the cinematic pantheon. She acknowledged the challenges of being a woman in Hollywood, especially one known for strength and independence. She once remarked that, "A woman who knows what she wants is always called difficult," a sentiment that resonated deeply with younger actresses facing similar scrutiny. Even in her later years, Dunaway continued to appear in films and at festivals, receiving Lifetime Achievement Awards that recognized her enduring contributions to cinema. She has graced events like Cannes, Venice, and the Academy Awards with the same regal poise that first captivated audiences in the 1960s. Despite her retreat from constant public exposure, she remains a living emblem of artistic courage. Her artistry also extends to her understanding of image. Dunaway has an innate sense of cinematic presence, the way posture, lighting, and silence can express emotion. One of the most famous photographs of her life, taken by Terry O'Neill the morning after her Oscar win for Network, shows her sitting alone at the Beverly Hills Hotel, surrounded by newspapers and her trophy, looking pensive and detached. That image has become iconic, symbolizing both the triumph and solitude of fame, a visual metaphor for Dunaway's entire career. Today, Faye Dunaway stands as one of the last great movie stars of the 20th century, an actress of intellect, danger, and discipline. She redefined what it meant to be a woman in cinema, carving out roles that mirrored the complexities of real life rather than fantasies. Her performances remain timeless studies in ambition, love, and loss. In an era of fleeting celebrity, Dunaway's artistry endures precisely because she never treated acting as performance. It was, for her, a calling. Her films continue to challenge, inspire, and mesmerize audiences around the world, ensuring that Faye Dunaway will forever be remembered not just as a star, but as one of the most profound actresses ever to grace the screen. At the heart of Faye Dunaway's enduring greatness lies a profound philosophy about art, self-discipline, and truth. To her, acting was never about glamour, it was a sacred responsibility, a means of revealing the invisible layers of the human soul. She treated every performance as an act of exploration, believing that the actor's duty was to illuminate the emotional truth beneath the surface of words. Dunaway's approach to her craft was methodical yet intuitive. She prepared for roles with deep research, often creating psychological backstories and emotional maps for her characters. On set, she demanded focus, not out of arrogance, but because she viewed filmmaking as a sacred collaboration between artist and camera. Her intensity could intimidate some directors and co-stars. But those who understood her process recognized its brilliance. She never walked through a scene, one colleague recalled. Every moment mattered to her. Her choice of roles reflected her worldview. Dunaway was drawn to characters at the edge, women confronting moral crises, societal constraints, or personal disintegration. Whether it was the doomed idealism of Bonnie Parker, the repressed trauma of Evelyn Mulray, or the ruthless modernity of Diana Christensen, her characters were not merely written, they were lived. She gave each of them an inner architecture, a sense that their lives existed before and beyond the screen. In her autobiography, Looking for Gatsby, 1995, Dunaway wrote candidly about the cost of her commitment. She spoke of the isolation that comes with obsession, the challenge of being a woman in a business that often punishes strength, and the difficulty of balancing art with personal happiness. Yet she also wrote of gratitude, for the gift of storytelling, for the chance to inhabit great roles, and for the endurance that allowed her to survive the volatility of fame. Her view of cinema was romantic but unsentimental. She believed that film, at its best, was a moral and emotional mirror. She admired directors who pushed boundaries, Arthur Penn, Roman Polanski, Sidney Lumet, and actors who dared to reveal their vulnerability. Dunaway saw the screen as a stage where truth could be magnified and humanity exposed.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.